Hey everyone, it's Blake. Welcome in to episode number 96 of our WWE 2022 Save and TEW 2020. This is Raw for February week 1. I know it took about a month to get to this point after the Royal Rumble. Again, as mentioned in the other videos, the Exploring the Seaverse videos I've done recently, just a matter of scheduling and, as usual, work is usually pretty busy from about January to March. And so hopefully getting back on track here in terms of getting back to consistent videos, which means the return of the WWE save here and getting more videos going to make the push to WrestleMania, as well as trying to get my notes and ideas sort of back together for the AEW and WCW series as well. But we have a lot of other Seaverse stuff we're doing elsewhere. There seems to be a lot of demand for that at the moment. So we're going to do a mix of all of these and just kind of put them up as I can here on the channel. So I appreciate all the great feedback. But there was a lot of great feedback for the Royal Rumble. And here is the fallout as we get into Raw here. We start with the pre-show. Dijak gets the win over Lince Dorado, 449 with the win. 42, not great, but if you kind of remember where we're at right now with Dijak, he has been someone who's been racking up wins on the pre-show. What could that mean for him moving forward? Perhaps we will find out. But for now, another pre-show win. Lince Dorado, I don't know if I mentioned this, but the reason he has a new gimmick change here is because I forgot to re-sign him. And so he hit free agency. I went back and re-signed him just because, in all honesty, we need, with this brand split, we need as many workers as we can get to kind of keep things fresh. So he's back, but he loses in 5 minutes to Dijak on the pre-show. So he gets a great gimmick change here, which is fine, I suppose. But that is the pre-show. And now let's jump in to the main card here on Raw. And we start with a big segment, as it is an 89 rating here. And what we see is Stone Cold Steve Austin, our Raw general manager. He is waiting in the parking lot with his Steve Weisers. You know this has been a theme over the months here on Raw. Austin in the parking lot, either trying to clear up brawls or waiting on people with a full case of Steve Weisers right near him. So Austin is waiting for Big E, and we kind of hear Austin talking about it. Where the hell is Big E? I know he's going to be here, and we got to talk after what happened at the Rumble, which of course was Big E coming in, eliminating Brock Lesnar after Lesnar destroyed Kofi Kingston, and then Lesnar came back in the match, eliminated Big E. Austin knows Big E's going to be frustrated, so he's waiting for him there. But here comes the Bullet Club, and that is when we see AJ Styles, Adam Cole, and Finn Balor make their way towards Steve Austin, and Styles just with a grin on his face, and Styles just says, I know who you're waiting for, Austin, but I hope you understand that you need to remember something that happened last night at the Royal Rumble. I need you to remember the Royal Rumble, Steve, because it's going to set in motion things that you simply cannot control moving forward. And if you thought that we had tried to take over Raw way back when, if you thought that's been our goal, well, you're right, because everything is set in motion now after the Royal Rumble. I told everyone I was going to win the Rumble, and now you know what that means, Steve. And Styles gets a little bit closer. He's getting closer to Steve Austin here, almost in his face now. That means I'm one win away from being the WWE champion. And just remember everything I said leading into the Rumble, after the Rumble here. Just remember it all, Steve, because you're not going to be able to control what happens next. So Styles kind of with some ominous statements here to Steve Austin and in Austin's face. And we know Styles does not really back down from anybody. So that is what Styles has to say to Austin, kind of increasing the tension between these two, which we know has been there for a while now. And so we see the Bullet Club sort of walk off as Austin is pissed. So 89 segment to start out here. Remember the Rumble is what Styles is telling Steve Austin. So Bullet Club walking off with Styles sort of noting they have more important business to take care of. So we now go next to Becky Lynch, who is in the ring. Becky holding her arm. Of course, we know what happened with her at the Rumble. It was Becky coming to enter the match, but she never got there because Ronda Rousey, out of nowhere, makes her debut in our series. as she just comes from behind and takes out Becky Lynch on her way to the ring. Rousey goes after the arm with the disarmor, and yeah, just a lot of sort of stuff there, trying to sort of use Becky Lynch's own move on her. We had a lot of kind of wild sequences there in terms of, just Ronda Rousey trying to take out Becky Lynch, and that's what it sort of came down to, and Becky never entered the match. So Becky comes out, she's holding her arm, she's pissed. So Becky's like, hey, I'm not waiting around. I don't care how my arm feels right now. It's time. Basically get your ass out here, Ronda. We're going to finish this right now. And so Becky's waiting and waiting and waiting, but there's no Ronda Rousey. She doesn't show up. Becky, again, sort of favoring her arm, and she said, well, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go join Steve Austin in the parking lot. I'm going to drink a couple Steve Weisers, and I'm going to wait for Ronda Rousey to show up. So Becky's headed to the parking lot, too, kind of our second home here on Raw, where all the crazy stuff seems to happen. Becky's heading out there to wait for Ronda Rousey. 83 for this segment. All right, then we get the official return of American Alpha. Jason Jordan and Chad Gable get a win over the Dirty Dogs, Dolph Ziggler, Robert Roode here. 10-18, Jordan forces the submission on Roode. 66 overall match, so pretty decent stuff here from these two teams. Of course, the chemistry notes are there with both. And yes, our official return of American Alpha here, as if you watch the Rumble, hopefully you did, because you're probably wondering about everything right now if you did not watch the Rumble. I would highly suggest that. Jordan made his shocking return to the ring as he reunited with Chad Gable, and clearly, Kurt Angle had been teasing something for about, a couple weeks, and that's what it was, the return of Jason Jordan. So, American Alpha, Team Angle, whichever one you want to call them, they officially reunite and get a win here of the victory over the Dirty Dogs. So, all right, then we get a video package looking at the sequence of events that led to Christian eliminating Randy Orton at the Royal Rumble. Of course, we've been playing up the tension between these two for a while now, ever since Christian made his return to WWE, joining forces with Edge and Orton at Armageddon to take on the Bullet Club. And yeah, that was just kind of led to sort of the downfall, I guess you could say, from there, as the group was sort of never the same, as there's constant tension between Christian and Edge and Orton. So Christian eliminates Orton. Of course, that led to Christian eventually getting eliminated right after, Orton chasing after Christian, and we just basically get a video package looking at that. Neither man here tonight on Raw, but we get kind of a development here in terms of here's what happened, what will happen next. We will find out perhaps next week. 67 for this segment. All right, then we get to a one-on-one match here. Angel Garza gets the win over Ricochet, 808. The Wing Clipper does it. Looks like no chemistry here between these two, but still a 62 with kind of a did above the in-ring performances. And anything with Ricochet, as we know, if it's above a 40, we'll take it. So what do you think Steve Austin's thinking right now, having Ricochet back on his program here in singles action? That was the worst thing that could happen to Steve Austin, was for Jeff Hardy and Ricochet to lose the tag team titles at the Royal Rumble, which they did in the ladder match to the Lucha Bros. And now that means Ricochet is stuck on Raw again with Steve Austin. And if you're a longtime watcher of the series, you know what I'm talking about there. Of course, Austin's been sending angry emails for months about how much he hates Ricochet. So he's back on Raw now, and he loses his first match to Angel Garza here. But again, not much chemistry. The bigger story is what happens after the match, because it's Pat McAfee entering the ring, and McAfee wants to know, look, Angel, what is going on with this whole Rey Mysterio tension that you guys have? We've constantly seen it, right? Garza's been in the front row. He's been trying to seemingly cheer on Dominic, try to help out Dominic. He even put himself in front of harm's way in the Rumble match to make sure Dominic didn't get eliminated. However, it was eventually where I think it was Sami Zayn who sort of forced all the eliminations there between those guys. So there's some tension there, and Garza says, look, I don't know what it is, Pat. I've made it very clear. I don't know what why he has a problem with me. I'm just here to help out Dominic. Like, that's all I want. Like, I will even team up with those two guys. I hold nothing against Rey Mysterio for being eliminated from the Royal Rumble, even though technically he's the one that, caused me to be eliminated. I hold no grudge. I just want to have a sit down with Rey to clear the air, to let him know all I care about is what is in the best interest of Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio. I'm here to help. I want to be, the next in line in terms of, these great athletes and all of these guys that come in the next, great line of Lucha Libre stars and all of this. That's all I want. So that's what Garza says, and he wants to sit down with Rey Mysterio. We'll see if he gets it. But Garza seemingly saying, hey, I want what's best for Dominic. And it's an interesting line to think about here. 65 overall for this one. All right, then we get backstage, and all of a sudden Pat McAfee has left Angel Garza in the ring. He quickly gets, we go to the commercial. We come back. Pat's in the back now. And here's Naomi. Pat's working overtime tonight, folks. I'll tell you that. You'll see. Pat's everywhere on this show. But it is Naomi who's looking for Sasha Banks because of why. Sasha, we know, a very controversial ending to the Women's Royal Rumble as Sasha pulled out sort of a dented chair from the corner, and she used it on Bayley to eliminate Bayley, and then she turned right around and used it on her friend Naomi to eliminate Naomi as well. Sasha wins the Women's Royal Rumble. So Naomi looking for Sasha. Pat McAfee says, hey, I have no idea where Sasha is. No one knows where she is. No one can find her. So I don't know what to tell you. It's very strange, right? She just won the Women's Rumble. She's not here. We can't find her. So Naomi's pissed about that. Then in walks Bayley. And, of course, Bayley very upset because she lost her Raw Women's title to Rhea Ripley at the Rumble. And Bayley walks in very frustrated. Of course, these two were part of the final three with Banks in the Women's Rumble. And Bayley says, I told you what would happen. I told you that Sasha turns on her friends. And that's exactly what she did to you. And she did it to me. And I am pissed at her about it. But you have nothing to complain about, Naomi, because I told you this was going to happen. You were too stupid to allow this to happen. And so Bayley's just going off. Naomi's getting pissed now. She's upset. But Bayley said, no. Don't come at me. I've already beat you one time. And then Bayley starts ranting about Steve Austin as she walks off because Austin has put Bayley in a match here tonight, and she's going to team up with Carmella to take on Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell, and that's because that's how we saw sort of the eliminations transpire in the Women's Rumble. It was Bayley and Carmella teaming up to eliminate LeRae and Hartwell in the match. So Austin's put her in a match. Bayley's upset. Naomi's upset. Everyone's pissed off after the Royal Rumble. That's exactly what you want, right? Like, everyone's unhappy except for maybe, AJ Styles and a couple other people. But everyone kind of furious right now. So Bayley leaves Naomi there frustrated, and she heads to the ring as that's going to be our next match. 74 for this one. And in a 55 match, which is not great, but a lot of that's based on the popularity of Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell. It is actually Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell getting the win over Bayley and Carmella, but it comes via disqualification. As the story here, I think it says Carmella was disqualified, but we're using it as Bayley was disqualified. I guess we just may have picked the wrong one. So what happens is, Bayley eventually is kind of out there the whole time saying, yelling to the fans, I shouldn't be out here. I shouldn't be doing this. I need my title back. And then Bayley, at one point goes over and goes to try to, grab a weapon while the referee's back is turned, but she just sort of out of habit looks for her championship belt. And then, the timekeeper has to remind her, you're not the champion. Your belt's not out here. And Bayley just gets pissed off again about that. So she goes over, she grabs the ring bell, and then Bayley just clocks Candice LeRae. The ref turns around and sees it. So that's the disqualification. So Bayley causes the DQ almost in intentional fashion here. So at 55, LeRae and Hartwell get the win. We're not finished with this just yet, but that is kind of the story here. Bayley unhappy, almost unhinged, looking for a championship belt that's not there. So what's going on with Bayley, we'll see moving forward. All right, then it's Pat again. I told you Pat's everywhere. We're calling this Raw reaction. This is what it is because this is all about reacting to what happened last night at the Royal Rumble. So Pat McAfee is with Rhea Ripley. And, of course, she is our new Raw Women's Champion. What a road back for Rhea from the devastating injury to coming back, winning the Mae Young Classic, now finally getting her hands on Bayley to win the championship back that she never lost. And Pat wants to know, Rhea, there's a lot going on right now. He's like, look at everything that's happened in the first hour of this show, basically. You've got Becky Lynch and Ronda Rousey What do you think about Becky, who never actually entered the Women's Rumble match? You've got all this tension with Bayley and Naomi, and of course Sasha Banks. She's your opponent, and Rhea's just like, Pat, my focus is on one thing, and that is on my WrestleMania match with Sasha Banks. Sasha won the Rumble. I know it wasn't the way, that all of us would have expected, but she's my opponent, and that's the only thing I'm focused on. I don't care what's going on around me, anywhere else. I am the champion. I know there's a target on my back, and I know that Sasha Banks is coming after my championship, and that's kind of how we leave it here. So Rhea only focused on Sasha Banks, even though there's a lot going on in the women's division, and Rhea keeping her focus on Sasha, and that basically when Sasha decides to show up, I'll be right there, and she can say, whatever she wants to say to me, but I'm ready for our match at WrestleMania. So it is official. It will be Rhea Ripley defending the Raw Women's Championship against Sasha Banks, the Royal Rumble winner, at WrestleMania. So this gets a 71 here for this one. And then it is Steve Austin, couple Steve Weisers in now. Here comes Big E, and Big E is furious. Again, everybody's pissed off on this show because a lot of people unhappy at what happened at the Royal Rumble. Big E wants a match with Brock Lesnar. He says, Steve, I don't care what you got to do. He said, I want Brock Lesnar in that ring, and I want it to happen tonight. So Big E's pushing for this match. He wants it right here, right now. He's not waiting around. And that is kind of when Austin says, look, Big E, I get it. That's why I've been waiting on you. I knew you were going to come in and ask for this, but I've got to tell you, I have no control over Brock Lesnar because he's not officially signed to Monday Night Raw. In fact, he's not signed to SmackDown. Brock Lesnar does what Brock Lesnar wants to do, and if there's anybody that knows that, it's me, and that basically, I can't tell you when Brock's going to be here. I have no idea if he's going to show up. He may show up on SmackDown. I have no idea. So Austin just kind of letting Big E know, and he can tell that Big E's just frustrated, very frustrated. He said, but here's what I've got for you. I got someone out there in the ring who hasn't wrestled in months. He said he wanted a match here tonight. He was tired of being disrespected, so I'm going to give you that opportunity. You want to walk out there and, blow off some steam? Go on out there because your opponent's waiting right there in the ring. So Big E not really happy with this response, but you can tell he just wants to beat somebody up. So that is what we're doing here with Big E. You can see his gimmick getting a little stale here. That's not ideal for Big E. But 83 for this one. Who is it that's waiting in the ring for Big E? I'm not really laughing. I don't know if it's that funny. But, to me, I was just like, who is someone we can pick on the roster? And as I was going down, I'm like, there's someone who legitimately I don't think has wrestled a match since maybe the first week of our save. Maybe the first couple weeks. He may have actually wrestled on a pre-show match here recently. I don't remember. But I was like, this guy wants it, he's tired of being disrespected. He wants a match. Well, he's about to get one because Big E goes down, and in very short fashion, it's Reggie as Big E gets to win in 4:42 over Reggie. Essentially just a squash match here. We have to kind of put it close to 5 minutes because I needed the time to add on, for the match angle, whatever, the breakdown on that. So 58, look, this is not, I probably shouldn't have put Big E in a 58 segment, but it is what it is. We needed to kind of play up the story. And again, that this is sort of a means to an end here. So Big E comes out, destroys Reggie, blows off some steam here, and that is when, after the destruction has taken place of Reggie, Brock Lesnar's music hits, and here comes the pain. Because Brock makes his way out, and here come the officials right beside him. So we've got a host of referees and officials trying to hold Brock back, but he is just sternly walking down to the ring. These officials are trying to push him back. He's throwing off officials everywhere, and that's when we start to see Stone Cold all of a sudden comes out from the, sort of the area because he had been, waiting, of course, to see what was going to happen with Big E. Well, here comes Austin. But Lesnar's just throwing officials everywhere. Big E's in the ring, and Lesnar just charges towards the ring, and here we go. We've got these two guys hauling off on each other. So Big E and Lesnar going right at it. The officials trying to make their way up. They're now getting into the ring. They're trying to pull these two apart. Austin's making his way down, and you can, as we always say, with these brawls, kind of the funny touch we add is Austin smiling because he loves this, right? Austin encourages chaos here on Raw, and we've kind of seen that during his GM reign. So he's encouraging this, just, everybody's kind of throwing each other everywhere. Big E's throwing officials out of the way now, and these two are just charging at each other again. But finally, we get some officials that are breaking them up. They kind of spill over to the outside, and then they start to kind of make their way, towards the ramp and towards the side area to the back. So we've got some officials with them, all right? So an 86 here for this one. So Austin is still just kind of, he's sort of standing on the side, kind of surveying everything that just happened as these guys are fighting to the back. Then we see someone jump the guardrail, and it's Ronda Rousey. So Ronda Rousey hops the guardrail, gets into the ring, and she says, "Hey, you're looking for me, Becky? I know you're back there. All you talked about heading into the Royal Rumble, everybody thought it was a given. You were going to win. You were going to get your WrestleMania main event back. That's all you talked about, how you've been to the main event before. You've proven you're the best and all of this. But everybody you mentioned as your top competition, you never said my name one time. And you think that you're going to get away with what you did to me at WrestleMania? I don't think so. So I took that WrestleMania main event away from you, and I'm happy and excited about it. And so I will break your arm the next time I see you." And here comes Becky. So Becky now is making her way out of the back. So Austin is over here on the side of the ramp. He's looking at this, and he's thinking, uh-oh, I know what's about to happen here. So here comes Becky holding her arm, and now it's Becky Lynch charging her way into the ring, and now it's Becky and Ronda hauling off on each other. So these two are going at it now. Ronda's trying to break Becky's arm. Becky is just trying to kind of fight her off, and Austin's looking around realizing, well, all the officials just went back there with Brock Lesnar and Big E. So Austin starts motioning to the back. Here come some more officials. So now we've got more officials making their way out. They're getting between Rousey and Becky Lynch. So another pull-apart brawl here as these two are trying to go at it. And Austin, again, he's shaking his head. And then we see Austin go over to the timekeeper's table. He grabs something from under the desk, and Stone Cold Steve Austin officially pulls out another Steve Weiser, and he's downing it as the officials are on the inside breaking up this brawl between Rousey and Lynch. So we're adding another touch there that Austin's just like, my goodness, what is going on here? So these two have to be separated. Big E and Brock Lesnar just had to be separated. Chaos everywhere here on Monday Night Raw. But what we do know is that Rousey kind of made her intentions clear. She was tired of being disrespected by Becky. She remembers that WrestleMania main event where Becky defeated her, to become the double champion, and Rousey never forgot it, and she decided to take Becky's big moment away from her potentially, didn't let her get in the Rumble, so now she is, again, taking away what Becky wanted most, and that's to get back to the WrestleMania main event. So chaos ensues everywhere here. We recap the gimmick changes. Rousey with an MMA badass gimmick gets great rating. So an 86. Woo! Exhale a little bit. I thought it would kind of be fun in terms of the booking to structure it that way. You have a huge brawl between two big stars like Big E and Lesnar. Officials try to break that up, and then you realize, we've got another huge brawl about to take place. Do we have enough officials to be able to stop everyone from basically destroying each other? And that's what happens here. So that was a fun sequence. I thought it would kind of be good to put back-to-back on that to show you just sort of the chaotic nature of what's happened now. Literally one night after the Royal Rumble. This is what we're seeing on Raw. So 86 for this one. Certainly a lot more to come, both with Big E and Lesnar and Rousey and Lynch. Okay, wow. After that chaos, we go to a video package that looks at Montez Ford's Iron Man performance in the Royal Rumble. Of course, Ford started as the number 2. Of course, Sami Zayn was 1. Ford was 2. Ford got all the way near the end. During the match, it was Angelo Dawkins, his partner, kind of stepping in front of Ford, taking a hit for him, which caused Dawkins to get eliminated. But Ford just kept going. The Iron Man of the Rumble until eventually it was John Cena who eliminated Montez Ford. So we're really just highlighting Ford's Iron Man performance here. So this gets a 74 for this one. And as we see this video package playing, we see Montez Ford, and you can just tell, we know what we've been building up here, right? Like he's kept saying, I have to win the Rumble, because we remember the guy who had the WWE title in his hands after beating Edge until the technicality took the belt back to Edge, has just kept saying, I have to win the Rumble. I have to win the Rumble. He didn't do it. And now it is Montez Ford, watching this video package, realizing that essentially he's failed again. And, we can just tell Ford's not himself. He hasn't been himself since sort of that match between, him and Edge for the WWE Championship a couple months ago. And so we kind of see him, down. He's not very happy here. He's just he's very down. And so that leads us into the match that we're going to have next. And it is the Street Profits getting the win over John Morrison and Shelton Benjamin. But it's Dawkins having to get the win here over Morrison because Ford, we kind of just see the theme throughout the match. Ford's just not that into it. And again, that's not unusual. We've seen this before, especially after that match he had with Edge, where he was the champion for about 30 seconds until it was officially reversed for Edge to get the title back. So that is something here to keep in mind here. Ford has failed again, essentially, at his goal. What's next? What we know, though, is that the Profits get the win here, but that's in large thanks to Angelo Dawkins and the work he put in this match. So 62 for this one. All right, then here's Pat. Pat's back again. Pat is with Kevin Owens. Again, raw reaction here. He wants to know, look, Kevin, all you talked about heading into the Rumble, you talked about how important this was to get your perhaps shot again at the U.S. Championship. It didn't work out for you. Sami Zayn retained. Then you said, hey, I want to win the Royal Rumble because I want to, have the WWE Championship. Well, that didn't happen either. So what is your mindset right now? And you can just kind of tell that Kevin Owens is really having to think about this. It's almost like he's at a loss for words. And of course, Kevin Owens, that's unusual, right? We're not used to Kevin Owens being at a loss for words here, but he kind of is. And, when you look at kind of how things played out for Owens in that match, it was one where he got eliminated by AJ Styles, the eventual winner. And Owens just says, look, Pat, I don't have a lot to say. I'm not sure what's next. That was my chance to get my U.S. title back. That was my chance to main event WrestleMania, to get my WWE Championship back. And I came up short. And so kind of have a sequence here, the transition from Ford coming up short. Now Owens feels like he's come up short. He's not sure what's next, and he just walks off as Pat just kind of stands there with a blank stare on his face. So what is next for Kevin Owens? We'll find out. 83 for this one. And then we go and see Team Angle, American Alpha, and Kurt Angle, however you want to put it. It is Kurt Angle kind of with Chad Gable and Jason Jordan. They're going over their game film here from their match earlier on. And once again, here they come, the Bullet Club. AJ Styles walks up and he just, sarcastically is clapping his hands. And he gets up in Kurt Angle's face yet again. How many times have we seen this now? He gets in Austin's face earlier. Now he gets in Kurt Angle's face again. Styles says, congratulations, Kurt. You said that, I could tell you had something up your sleeve, didn't know what it was, but you've got your little son back there now. And he just says, that's good. Good for you guys. Because you're going to need all the help you can get on Raw. Because it's about to be our show. It already is our show, but now when we get the championships, it's going to be much different. And I think you need to make sure, Kurt, you, your son, and Chad need to make sure to watch your backs because the takeover is almost complete. So that's kind of AJ Styles' wording here to say that they're almost where they want to be in terms of the takeover. And then again, it is Styles just getting in Kurt Angle's face and just reiterating, you need to watch your backs. So Bullet Club really on a high right now after AJ Styles winning, and then we kind of see the sort of the teasing of Cole and Balor kind of getting up in Jordan and Gable's faces here. So yeah, quite an interesting dynamic we have going on here. 74 for this one. And then in our main event, this is our main event, as it is Cesaro, someone else who sort of came up short in the Royal Rumble as he gets the win over Mustafa Ali here in 12-19, 76 for this one. So this is the main event from the match standpoint. But Cesaro, of course, was eliminated, one of several people eliminated by Walter in the match. And I haven't decided yet if we're going to go with a Walter or the Gunther name. I'm going to leave that up to you guys. But it was Cesaro, just like Sheamus, just like Keith Lee, eliminated by Walter there which of course came in at number 30. And so Cesaro came up short in his quest to be the winner of the Royal Rumble. But he gets a win here, a little bounce back, 76 for this one. And that is when, after the match, Steve Austin, we cut to the back, Cesaro's in the ring, and Austin officially makes an announcement. He says, Cesaro, I know you came up short in the Rumble, but I've seen enough out of you over these past several months to know where things need to go next. And that is when Austin says, I'm going to give you another opportunity, not for the WWE Championship, but for the Intercontinental Championship, because in 2 weeks' time, Cesaro, you're going to challenge the Intercontinental Champion Keith Lee for the Intercontinental title here on Raw. So Austin announces a big match 2 weeks from now, Keith Lee defending the Intercontinental title against Cesaro. Of course, Sheamus came up short in his quest for that elusive championship against Lee at the Rumble. But now Cesaro will get a shot here at Keith Lee. So a big match added 2 weeks from now on Raw for the IC title. 73 here for this one. All right, and then the man you've been waiting for, the new WWE Champion, Daniel Bryan, is here and gets a standing ovation from the crowd. And that is when Bryan just starts to reflect on his journey back to the WWE Championship. He says, look, everyone knows what happened to me at SummerSlam last year. I had this title in my grasp for about 1 minute. And then everything that happened with Edge and Randy Orton, it was a long journey to get back to this point, but I never stopped. I never stopped, sort of working to get myself back to this chance to have this championship on my shoulder here. And he just kind of looks at the title and looking down at it. And that's when he says, I've done a lot to get here. And basically, mentions, and I don't forget that because no one is going to take this championship away from me now because I have went through hell, basically, to get it back. And no one is going to take that away from me. And that is when we get, 88 here for this one, the music of AJ Styles. And here comes AJ Styles. But he's all alone. He's not with Adam Cole, Finn Balor. It's just AJ Styles. And Styles comes out, and Bryan's sort of looking around. He's trying to figure out, all right, so where are the guys at, right? And Styles just looks around, shaking his head, and he says, basically, I'm here alone. That's what he tells Bryan. I'm here alone. And then when we hear Styles say something about that they have an important meeting to take care of, I'm here alone. And so Bryan's just shaking his head. He's like, I'm not buying it. He's like, no. They've got a meeting. They've got something they got to take care of. I'm here by myself. And that is when AJ Styles starts to recall their King of the Ring match they had way back when. We go all the way back to the beginning of our save in June, the final of the King of the Ring. And Styles says, I vividly remember that match because, you know what, Daniel? You were better than me then. He said, you beat me to win the King of the Ring, to get your shot to win the WWE Championship at SummerSlam, and you did it. You won the title. You beat me at King of the Ring. You won the championship, but then you lost it. And that is when he says, that's the difference, Daniel, between me and you right now. I'm in a different place than you are. You lost that championship. You just got it back. Now you're trying to keep that away from me. And Styles says, but something else that's different about it is that I'm willing to do whatever it takes to get that championship that's right there on your shoulder. And he says, that's what's different about you and I right now, Daniel. We're in different places than we were back then in June at the King of the Ring. Our goal for the Bullet Club has always been to make it to the top. And we keep trying to change the game every way we can. And we're not going to play by the rules. You've tried to play by the rules to get your championship back. And congratulations, you did just that. But we don't play by the rules in the Bullet Club. And I'm going to do whatever I have to do to take that championship because only then will our goal be complete of being at the top of WWE and finally putting everyone on notice that we are the future. We are the ones who are here to take everything over, and we're not done just yet. And that is when we see sort of Bryan, sort of step up to Styles, and then Bryan starts looking around again, And Styles says, "Oh, don't worry, Daniel. Like I said, they're in a very important meeting right now. But just know we're always around." So that's when Bryan looks around again, kind of head on the swivel. But there's no Adam Cole. There's no Finn Balor. And then AJ Styles just steps back and walks out of the ring as Bryan continues to sort of have his head on a swivel here, thinking he's going to get attacked because we've seen that happen so much, right? But nothing. There's no one attacking Daniel Bryan. He just stands alone in the ring with the championship on his shoulder as AJ Styles backs away, and that is how we finish this edition of Raw. So 92 here for this one. A lot more to come just on the motivations of these two, kind of what's leading us to this big match at WrestleMania. And it is official. Next week, we kind of hear as we go off the air, Michael Cole with the voiceover that says next week on Raw, we will sign the contract for our WrestleMania Night 1 main event, which is going to be Daniel Bryan defending the WWE Championship against AJ Styles. So 92 for this show, and we wrap up here as we get an 82 for this one. Good show overall. So a lot I know we had to squeeze in there, and there's some stuff that we did not get to that we will get to on the next edition of Raw. Some of that stuff that I'll just tell you now. That way you kind of know what's on the way. We just could not fit it in. We will have Johnny Gargano versus Austin Theory. That's going to take place next week on Raw. We talked about Keith Lee versus Cesaro in 2 weeks for the Intercontinental Championship. We couldn't fit the Gargano Theory fallout on this edition. But of course, it was Theory costing Gargano that four-way U.S. title match at the Rumble. And we're also going to have some tag team action next week, as it's going to be the returning Ruby Riott, who we saw make her return in the Women's Royal Rumble. She's going to team up with Liv Morgan and Toni Storm in a 6-woman tag next week. So that's going to be a fun little dynamic there, but we'll get to that on the next edition. 82 for this show. A lot of storyline development, and let's see what we get to before we wrap up. All right, so that was Raw. Positive show. Look, an 82 is not striking gold anymore because we've grown so much. So, like I said, a good show. A lot we had to jam into that one, and there was a lot of storylines in motion, but Raw in a place where, hey, for the first time in a long time, Raw actually gets more than a 4-week build for a big pay-per-view because, the next thing for Raw is going to be WrestleMania at the end of March. So, of course, SmackDown has the February pay-per-view with No Way Out. So, Raw, we got a little time to build some stuff up, so we needed to jam a lot in to kind of kickstart some things there on that episode. So let's look at our email. Drug test feeds. Raw gets to 4.04. That's nice. Pat McAfee's contract is ending. Oh, no. Pat was in about every segment on that show, so we're going to have to re-sign Pat. There's going to be no doubt about that. So we'll get Pat back on the payroll there moving forward. So there was Raw. Hope you enjoyed it. Like I said, a lot. I know sometimes our shows we have to cram in a lot, but that's one of the reasons why, honestly, it takes a while to put these shows together is there's a lot of things we have in motion. And for me, I told some of you guys in the comments, but like I sort of just hit sort of a creative wall right after the Rumble. I know where I want to go. It's just, you know me, I'm kind of like, I have too much attention to detail sometimes, and it causes me to just take forever to book these shows. And so, it almost is, I feel like I should start like an indie company at this point, have about 8 wrestlers on the roster, because then I think I would be able to exhale a little bit on putting shows together. But these are just, they're very extensive, and hopefully that's one of the reasons you guys enjoy this. So, but be sure to like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Again, a lot more stuff on the way. I'm trying to get the next AEW and WCW episodes out. I know you guys are waiting on those, but I think we're almost there. And again, we're back kind of, my plotting for the WWE one is a little bit more where I want it to be now, so I think we can start kind of grinding these shows back out again because we are on the road to WrestleMania, so that's something we have to look forward to, and there'll be a lot of fun stuff to come after WrestleMania too. There's already some big plot points that I have after WrestleMania that will be something that will be must see as well. So I'm excited about that, and also excited about hopefully getting the AEW and WCW saves restarted here very soon, and a lot of C-verse stuff. As I said, even if you're not someone who's played a lot of Cornellverse stuff, I am kind of getting into that because I think there's a lot of more creative options with those kind of things. So I'm putting together, we have the Exploring the C-verse series on there. You can learn more about that. I'm also putting together some other kind of C-verse related series that will be more of quick episodes. You'll see what I'm talking about when I put those out. But a lot of good stuff on the way. So hit that subscribe button. On the next episode of our WWE 2022 save, it will be a big edition of SmackDown as Roman Reigns will be giving Jim Uso a reward of some sort. What is that reward going to be? Find out, because on the next episode of this series, it will be SmackDown for February week 1.